Hey everyone, I just want to do a quick video on the parts of the sword. Now I'm going to break this into sections to make it easier to study. There's going to be the parts of the handle, parts of the guard, parts of the scabbard, and the parts of the blade. Right now I'm saying them in English to make it easy to understand, but you're going to learn them in Japanese. So let's get started. The handle is called the ska or suka. Either one is correct. The metal cap at the end right here, that is called the kasha or skagashira, and that is the pommel. It's there for having something to strike with and to help prevent the ska from splitting. On some swords, and this one is one, they have this little eyelet right there. That's called the shitome. The purpose is to help protect your ito from fraying. The ito is the wrapping on the ska. It's also known as ska ito, or the actual act of wrapping it is called skamaki. And there are many different skamaki styles. This is just two. There's tons of different styles of skamaki. Next down, right here, the red diamonds, as you can see in this sword, or black right here, that is the ray skin, and it is called same or samegawa. Samegawa can be in many colors, typically is white, that's what's most common, but you can lacquer it, you can dye it, just about any color you want. The purpose of the samegawa is to reinforce the ska, because typically it was a full wrap. But these are panels. The second purpose was to add friction for the ito to stay on. On ones with panels like this, which was also historical panels, because even back then, samegawa was expensive. It's just there to add traction and basically for looks. Some swords had no samegawa. Others, instead of ray skin, they used leather, actual leather, although that wasn't as common, of course, as this. Next down, the mikugi, which is the little pin right here. This one has two, as does this one. Typical on swords nowadays is two for safety. And also because the ska on most production swords doesn't fit necessarily the best as well as a custom ska does. So this is for extra safety as well as in case one should fall out. Now mikugi can be made out of numerous materials. Just going to take these out to show you. This is my personal iaito. So this is just what I typically do in my iaitos, although I recommend bamboo for the average person. This one's bamboo, this one's brass. They can be made out of numerous other materials, horn, antler, a lot of other materials. Like I said, I recommend bamboo, but interestingly, there are some styles out there that require one bamboo pin, mikugi, right here, rather than bamboo, to use brass. And that's just for their preferences. I like brass because it's more easy to obtain than bamboo. So on my iaitos, instead of having to use up all the bamboo for two pins, I make one brass. But like I said, I definitely recommend bamboo for the average person because it's much easier to get to take to the shape of the hole. Now the hole. This here is called the mikugiana. It's tapered, typically. Well, when done correctly, it's tapered. I'll do a video on that sometime in the future. But nowadays, they a lot of times just use a straight drill bit, not tapered. Pretty easy to fix. But so, that's that part. Next down, this little ornament. There's 2 of them on each side. These ones are actually rather large. This one has a 2. It's a bit easier to see on this one right here. That's called the manuki. Now, manuki have a lot of different purposes. Originally, on tachi, they were put here, and they were used to cover up the makugi, and also to serve as a palm swell. However, nowadays, it's not used like that. Of course, even back then, the manuki was quickly moved down so that you wouldn't have to undo the whole ito to take your sword apart. They also served on tachi as palm swells because they were on this side, because the tachi would be hung this way, edged down. However, when the transition to katana took place, for looks, that makugi stayed, or manuki rather, stayed on this side facing that way, and they just flipped it over. So that purpose was lost. There are still some styles that prefer the makugi to be here, or manuki, a lot of times though they are on the finger side rather than the palm side. Sometimes they're even in the middle. I did this skimaki, and this one here is in the middle. I like personally when they are in the middle or when they're on the palm side, because otherwise on the finger side, to me, they're not as comfortable. Although on a battle wrap like this, katate maki, it's not so bad from there. But even then, to me, if I'm going to have them like that, I prefer in the middle. So, that's neither here nor there, but... Now, next part down. This collar right here. This is called the fuchi. As you can see, there's another, this one has it. Typically all swords have these. I haven't seen too many that don't. Historically, sometimes on really cheap swords, it would be just a metal band, or maybe something that was just being thrown together for a battle. It would be just a metal band that was actually forged on there while hot. The little spacer right here, gold on this one. This one here has a black one. I did that on purpose. Those are called the seppa. And I'll take this ska off so you can see it easier. It's called the seppa, and it is there to keep space between the fuchi suba and then the suba and the habaki, which is the blade collar. We're not going to go into that in this video. The suba is the hand guard, and of course it's there to protect your hand. Now it can be used to protect your hand from a blade coming down on your hand, or just simply to prevent your hand from slipping onto the blade. Right here on the ska is the nakago ana, and that is quite literally the nakago hole, or the tang hole. The tang is called the nakago. That's where the tang would go on in. So that's pretty much the parts of the sword. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it was informative. Like I said, I'm going to do this in sections to make it easier to learn. So please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.